Lemurians are said to have once existed on a lost continent in the Pacific Ocean. Did this mysterious ancient civilization really exist? The Atlantic Ocean is said to be home to the lost continent of Atlantis, while the Pacific Ocean allegedly once contained a continent known as Lemuria, or Mu for short. Who were these people and what happened to the continent? The continent of Lemuria. Lemuria was supposedly a large continent which existed around the same time of Atlantis. English zoologist Philip Sclater hypothesized that a land bridge once existed during the Eocene age from Malay Archipelago to the south coast of Asia and Madagascar, thus connecting India to southern Africa. According to Sclater's theory, it would explain why lemurs, whom Lemuria is named for, are found on both Africa and India. It is said that Lemuria flourished until about 12,000 years ago when it was destroyed by natural disasters including a volcanic eruption, tidal waves, and earthquakes. What is left of this so-called lost continent are rocky islands scattered about the Pacific Ocean. Lemurians. Various descriptions of Lemurians have been suggested by Theosophists and philosophers. Some of these include that Lemurians were 15 feet tall, had 4 arms, and originally laid eggs. An easier claim to swallow is that they were a shorter race of people with somewhat dark complexions. They are believed to have lived simply and were very spiritual. They also possessed the ability of clairvoyance. Madame Blavatsky. Several scholars paint a vivid picture of this land from knowledge gained through purported ancient documents. The most noted of these was the great 19th century esotericist H.P. Blavatsky, who described Lemuria in her vast history of humanity. Blavatsky claims the content of her text, The Secret Doctrine, was largely based on the Book of Jian, which was passed on to her by the Brotherhood of Mahatmas, masters, who allegedly run the world from their headquarters in Tibet. Blavatsky said the book had been composed in Atlantis on palm leaf pages in the forgotten language of Senzar. Its contents mention the third race, named the Lemurians, while the fourth was Atlantis, and the fifth is supposedly our own. The sixth race, Blavatsky reveals, will evolve from us and return to the lost land of Lemuria. Blavatsky describes Lemurians as having 4 arms, with some having an eye on the back of their head that gave them psychic vision. She adds the Lemurians lived in caves and holes and had no spoken language, communicating only through telepathy. They also had no proper brain, but could literally move mountains by their willpower. Blavatsky believed Lemuria existed in the southern hemisphere 60 to 40 million years ago. W. Scott Elliott. After Blavatsky's death in 1891, a leading theosophist named W. Scott Elliott wrote a lengthy paper titled The Story of Atlantis and Lost Lemuria. Elliott claims the content derived from the Theosophical masters, who describe Lemurians as between 12 and 15 feet tall, with flat faces, no foreheads, brown skin, and eyes so far apart they could see sideways as well as forwards. They also had an eye in the back of their heads, which proved useful for walking backwards, as their heels protruded immensely. Elliott says Lemurians continually evolved over time, and today's Australian Aborigines, Andaman Islanders of India, and Lapps are all descendants of this final race. He then quotes the Theosophical masters, saying that approximately 800,000 years ago, Lemuria sank and made way for Atlantis, before it too perished in 9654 BC. However, there is some evidence to suggest Blavatsky, Elliott, and others in the Theosophical Society were given misleading information by the ancient Bon cult of Tibet. Little known outside of India, Nepal, and Tibet, the ancient Bon religion embraced principles such as personal power, deception, control over others, telepathy, and black magic. James Churchward. One of the more credible claims about the Lemurians comes from Colonel James Churchward, who allegedly was shown some secret ancient stone tablets by a Hindu priest. According to these ancient stones, Lemuria consisted of 60 million people who lived in 10 different tribes. The continent itself was 6,000 miles long and 3,000 miles wide. Just as some Atlanteans are believed to have escaped their continent as it was being destroyed, thus was the fate of some Lemurians. According to Churchward, evidence of the existence of Lemuria can be found in the artifacts and legends of the ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Tibetans, to name but a few. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any concrete proof that Lemuria existed, although there are those who claim to have past life memories of living there, and many people have seen this mysterious continent via psychic abilities. There is no scientific proof that it existed. Like its famous counterpart Atlantis, Lemuria remains a mystery. For now, it must remain a legend until proof is found that it actually existed. Just like it's been said that one day Atlantis will rise again, the same has been said for Lemuria, only time will tell. Is part of the lost continent of Lemuria in Japanese waters. Some believe that the legendary lost continent of Lemuria in the Pacific Ocean is part of the cradle of the world's oldest civilization and the site of the Garden of Eden. There is a debate as to whether or not it's older than Atlantis or if they coexisted. In the 1800s, English zoologist Philip Scatler proposed the theory that a land bridge linked the Southeast Asian coasts and Madagascar to the Malay archipelago during the Eocene age after Charles Darwin developed his theory of evolution. This was meant to explain why the lemur is found in these locations, so he dubbed the civilization Lemuria. Other scientists agreed with Scatler. Evidence of underwater and subterranean civilizations has been found, in more recent times, from Japan and Hawaii to the western coast of California. Colonel James Churchward's theory, Lemuria Mu. In 1870, the former Bengal Lancer claimed that a Hindu priest told him about ancient stone and clay tablets that revealed the secret of a continent he called Mu. Humans first appeared there about 200,000 years ago and evolved into a race of 60,000 people in 10 tribes. About 12,000 years ago, Mu was destroyed by a volcanic eruption, tidal waves, and earthquakes. Survivors escaped to other lands. He postulated that the Pacific Ocean's rocky islands are remnants of Mu, but didn't offer hard evidence to prove it. So many scientists dismiss his works as fiction. French physician Auguste Le Plongeon, who excavated Mayan ruins, theorized that the Mayans and Egyptians are descended from Muvians. Japanese divers find what some believe is part of Lemuria. In March 1995, divers found, spread out over 311 miles, preserved ruins of a submerged ancient city in the sea around Okinawa and island of Yonaguni in 8 separate locations. These were human-made, consisting of boulevards, streets, archways, staircases, and structures made of precisely cut and fitted stone blocks welded together. Soon, Japan's archaeologists joined Lemurianists in exploring the discovery. In September, not far from the shore of Yonaguni, they found an enormous, pyramid-like structure in approximately 100 feet of water, which appeared to be a ceremonial center with walkways and pylons. Lemuria's pyramid. The ziggurat, a 4-sided pyramid-shaped structure, is thought to be the world's oldest building. It's almost twice as old as the Egyptian pyramids. Many archaeologists believe it's evidence of a previously unknown Stone Age civilization. Some date the ziggurat to at least 8,000 BCE, while others think it goes back to 12,000 BCE. Professor Masaaki Kimura, a professor of geology at Okinawa's Ryukyu University, has concluded that the mysterious ziggurat was made by humans. The building isn't natural. If was, debris from erosion would have been around the site, but there was none. There's what appears to be a road and smaller ziggurats surrounding the structure, further evidence that it was human-made. Robert Schoch, professor of geology at Boston University, agrees. Jim Mower, an archaeologist at London's University College, stated that if the Japanese ziggurat is proved to be 10,000 years old and is made by humans, it will change previous thoughts about Asian history, because this would make the people who made the structures equal to the ancient civilizations of Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. Lemurians could have built the Japanese pyramid. These mysterious submerged stone structures off of Okinawa's coast have some Japanese wondering if their island was once part of the lost continent of Lemuria. These could only have been built by a civilization with a high degree of intelligence and technology, most likely from the Asian continent, where the oldest civilizations are theorized to have originated. There would have to have been some type of equipment involved to have constructed the submerged structures. There is a debate concerning the location of the cradle of civilization, where the oldest civilizations are thought to have stemmed from. It's usually postulated to be ancient Near Eastern lands, especially in the Fertile Crescent of Levant and Mesopotamia, but can extend to Armenia, Greece, and the Persian Plateau, and other Asian civilizations by large river valleys, such as the Indus River in South Asia and the Chinese Yellow River. The ziggurat might have been an ancient religious site, perhaps celebrating an ancient god like Nirai Kanai, whom residents of Okinawa believe brings happiness from beyond the sea. The site could be evidence of an ancient culture for which no records exist that had the ability to build the city eons ago. Some of the submerged structures resemble castle walls built on the island of Okinawa. Would further research change the concept of Asian history, or is Lemuria a mere legend? The enigma of Lemuria, between lost continent and legendary civilization. The lost continent of Lemuria, also known as Mu, remains one of history's most tantalizing mysteries. Like its Atlantic counterpart, Atlantis, Lemuria is said to have been an advanced ancient civilization that vanished beneath the waves, leaving behind only scattered ruins, enigmatic legends, and a legacy that continues to captivate researchers, mystics, and archaeologists alike. But did Lemuria truly exist, or is it merely a myth, a romanticized echo of humanity's collective memory? The scientific hypothesis, from lemurs to lost lands. The concept of Lemuria first emerged not from mysticism, but from 19th century science. English zoologist Philip Sclater proposed the idea in 1864 to explain the puzzling distribution of lemurs in Madagascar and India, suggesting a now sunken land bridge. Though plate tectonics later replaced this theory, the name Lemuria endured, shifting from a scientific hypothesis to an esoteric legend. The esoteric vision, Madame Blavatsky, and the theosophical legacy. The most elaborate accounts of Lemuria come from Helena Blavatsky, founder of the Theosophical Society. In The Secret Doctrine, she described Lemuria as the home of the third root race, a primordial civilization of telepathic egg-laying giants with psychic vision. Her successor, W. Scott Elliott, expanded on this, portraying Lemurians as 15-foot-tall beings with backward-facing eyes, whose descendants supposedly include the Aboriginal Australians and Andaman Islanders. Yet Blavatsky's sources, particularly the Book of Xian, remain unverified, and her claims intertwine with Tibetan Bon mysticism, which some suspect deliberately misled Theosophists with occult disinformation. The archaeological mystery, Yonaguni and the Sunken City. The most compelling physical evidence for Lemuria lies beneath the Pacific, near Japan's Yonaguni Island. Discovered in 1985, the Yonaguni Monument is a massive terraced stone structure resembling a stepped pyramid submerged in 100 feet of water. Geologists like Professor Masaaki Kimura argue it is man-made, citing precision-cut stone blocks with right angles and smooth surfaces, staircases, roads, and ceremonial plazas surrounding the main structure. The absence of natural erosion patterns that would explain its formation. If human-made, Yonaguni could date back 10,000, 12,000 years, predating the Egyptian pyramids and Mesopotamian ziggurats. This would rewrite history, suggesting a lost Pacific civilization with advanced engineering. Colonel Churchward's Mu, a hidden history? Another key figure in Lemurian lore is James Churchward, a British officer who claimed a Hindu priest showed him ancient Naacal tablets documenting Mu, a Pacific continent destroyed around 12,000 years ago. Churchward's writings describe Mu as a spiritual utopia whose survivors influenced Egyptian, Mayan, and Indian cultures. While skeptics dismiss his work as fiction, some intriguing connections persist. Easter Island's Moai statues, whose builders' origins remain unknown. Nan Madol, a megalithic city in Micronesia built on artificial islands. Oral traditions in Polynesia and the Americas speaking of a great flood and a sunken homeland. The modern debate, myth or lost civilization. Despite intriguing clues, no definitive proof of Lemuria exists. Mainstream archaeology attributes Yonaguni to natural geological formations, while genetic studies of lemurs confirm continental drift, not a sunken land bridge. Yet the persistence of the Lemuria legend suggests something deeper. A cultural memory of a pre-flood world? A symbolic allegory for humanity's lost golden age? An undiscovered chapter in human history, erased by cataclysm? Conclusion: the search continues. Lemuria remains suspended between myth and potential reality. Whether a physical continent, a metaphorical archetype, or a suppressed ancient civilization, its legacy endures in submerged ruins like Yonaguni, global flood myths from Sumer to the Andes. Esoteric traditions warning of cyclical cataclysms. Perhaps, as with Atlantis, the truth of Lemuria lies not in proving its existence, but in recognizing the patterns of forgotten history, where advanced cultures rise, fall, and vanish beneath the waves, leaving only whispers for future generations to decipher. If Lemuria was real, its greatest lesson may be this: civilizations, no matter how grand, are fleeting, and one day, our own cities may become the sunken myths of tomorrow. The ocean keeps its secrets, for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. I love hearing from you. Check out more videos on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.